Okay, picture this. You're trying to solve one of the world's biggest problems, maybe find a cure for a disease. The clues you need? They're buried in literally millions of scientific papers. It's an impossible task. But what if you could assemble an AI dream team? A hand-picked crew of specialized AIs all working together to read, understand, and connect all that information for you. So how would a team like that actually work? And is it really the breakthrough we've been waiting for? Let's break it all down.
Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get a handle on the sheer scale of the problem researchers are up against. Then, we'll look at why the AIs we use today just aren't cutting it. After that, we'll meet this new dream team concept, and then watch it go head-to-head with the standard AI. We'll check out the results, and trust me, they're surprising. And finally, we'll talk about why this matters for all of us, way beyond the lab.
All right, so let's start with the problem itself, and it's a big one. You see, scientists today aren't just looking for a needle in a haystack. They are staring down a full-blown tsunami of information. Get this. Every single year, more than 2.5 million new academic papers get published. And what's really crazy is that number is doubling about every 12 years. It's a rate of growth that is completely impossible for any one person or even a whole team of people to keep up with.
And all that data creates this huge problem. It's called the search synthesis gap. I mean, sure, we've got tools like Google Scholar that can find the papers, but that's the easy part. Researchers are still left with this mountain of documents and have to do all the heavy lifting of reading them, connecting the dots, and figuring out what it all means. This gap, right here, is a massive bottleneck for innovation.
So you're probably thinking, okay, but can't we just throw ChatGPT at this problem? And well, it turns out that today's AIs, the ones we all use, they're incredibly smart in some ways, but they're just not quite ready for the high-stakes world of scientific research.
The thing is, when you rely on a single general-purpose large language model, and that's the engine behind tools like ChatGPT, you run into some major issues. For one, their knowledge is basically frozen in time, stuck at whenever they were last trained. Then there's their really nasty habit of hallucinating. They just invent fake sources that look totally real. They also mix up who found what, and most importantly, they just weren't built to deeply synthesize information across a bunch of specific documents. In science, where your credibility is everything, these flaws are absolute deal breakers.
So, if one AI working alone can't do the job, what's the alternative? This is where a really clever new approach comes into play.
The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of having one jack-of-all-trades AI trying to do everything, you build what's called a multi-agent system. Seriously, just think of it like a human research team, where every single member has a specific job that they are an expert at. And this team has a structure that'll look really familiar. You've got the coordinator, who's basically the project manager, keeping everyone on task. The retrieval agent is your expert librarian, who goes and finds the right information from a curated library of recent papers. Then you have the parametric agent, kind of like a seasoned expert who can recall general facts from the AI's vast internal knowledge. And then, and this is maybe the most important player, you have the citation validator. This is your meticulous, can't-fool-me fact-checker. And finally, the synthesis agent steps in as the lead author, weaving everything together into a coherent story. And this team doesn't just wing it. They follow a very structured 5-phase process. First up, they break down the research question into smaller pieces. Then, they go get information from both the library of new papers and the AI's general knowledge. Now here's the crucial part. They validate every single citation against real academic databases. No fakes allowed. Only after everything is checked and double-checked do they synthesize it all into one clear answer. Okay, so this dream team idea sounds amazing in theory, right? But does it actually perform any better? To figure that out, researchers set up the ultimate AI showdown. This was the big question they needed to answer. Basically, they're asking, is this team-based RAG approach, which is just a fancy way of saying the AI looks up facts before it answers, actually better than a standard single AI? And not just better, but how much better? Is all the extra complexity of having a team really worth it? Now, to make sure this was a totally fair fight, they did something really important. Both the solo AI and the Dream Team were built using the exact same powerful AI model, like a GPT-4. Think of it like putting the same engine in two different cars. This meant any difference in performance had to be because of the team-based architecture, not because one of them just had a smarter brain. So they ran 100 different research queries through both systems. They had an impartial AI judge score every single response. And when the dust settled, well, the verdict wasn't even close. The multi-agent dream team won an astounding 83% of the time. The standard single AI, it only managed to win 8% of the time. This isn't just a little bit better, it's a landslide. We're talking about a completely dominant performance that proves this team-based approach is just fundamentally superior for this kind of work.
So why did it win so decisively? Well, it really boils down to one critical thing: the quality of the citations. On a 5-point scale, the regular AI scored a kind of mediocre 3.2. The multi-agent system, it scored a stellar 4.37. That is a massive difference. It means its sources were way more relevant, more accurate, and they actually backed up its claims, all thanks to having that fact-checker on the team.
And a real-world example makes this difference super clear. When both systems were asked about a concept called transfer learning, the judge pointed out that, yeah, the baseline AI gave a decent answer, but its examples were kind of old. The multi-agent team, on the other hand, covered the same basics, and it added more current, validated examples from very recent research papers. It just gave a richer, more accurate, more cutting-edge answer.
Okay, so an AI team is better for scientists.
Cool. But why should the rest of us care?
Well, because this is about so much more than just writing better research papers.
This whole multi-agent fact-checking architecture, it's a blueprint for building AI we can actually trust in any field where facts matter. Just imagine lawyers being able to instantly verify case law, or doctors synthesizing the latest drug trial results in minutes, or financial analysts getting grounded, reliable summaries of market reports. This is the model for how we take AI from being a clever toy to a reliable professional tool.
So that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. What we're seeing here is the first step: an AI system that's actually designed for collaboration and for factual accuracy. So if a team of specialized AIs can start to tame this overwhelming flood of scientific knowledge, what other huge complex problems are they ready to solve next?